Right, now we're going to do the problems. Hopefully gave those a shot. 2, A, B, C, D, and E. We're going to use what we learned in problem 1 here to work through that. So we came up with our equation and we based it off of our data on our graph. We found a unit rate of 1 kilometer per every 6 minutes. So all I have to do is take my number of minutes and divide by 6 to get my number of kilometers. Now, again, I can probably backwards that and find the number of minutes per kilometer run by just multiplying both sides by 6 to isolate and get x by itself. Then it would be 6y equals x. We're going to keep it in this form right here for now. How far can Ella run in 15 minutes? So if we're looking for y, the dependent variable distance, and we're saying 15 divided by 6 will give us the number of kilometers. I can go ahead and use long division, practice some long division. It's always good, right? I think intuitively some of us can figure this out right now, but let's just use long division and see what happens. I can't get any 6's out of 1, so I'm going to slide over here. How many 6's in 15? That's 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Leaves me 3 left over. But I don't want any leftovers. I want to break it out into fractions of a kilometer. So I'm going to go into the decimals. And I'm going to drop a 0 down here. How many 6's are there in 30? Well, there's 5. So y equals 2.5 kilometers. And that's how we would find that out using the equation. All we did was take our equation that we figured out from our data, and then when we knew the number of kilometers, we plugged it in, or when we knew the number of minutes, we plugged it in, 15 for x, okay? And then we got 2.5 kilometers. Let's move on to question B. How long does it take Ella to run 7.5 kilometers? Now we have 7.5 equals x divided by 6. So we're going to have to do a little bit here, right? We need to isolate this x to figure it out. In order to do that, I need to multiply it by 6. Because if I divide something by 6 and multiply it by 6, I'm just dividing or multiplying by 1 at that point, and that leaves me x. In order to do that, I need to multiply the other side by 6 as well. So now I have 7.5 times 6. I know that 7 times 6 is 42. 0.5 times 6 is 3. 42 plus 3 is 45. So x equals 45. How far can Ella run in 1 hour? I kind of got this figured out, right? This is 60 minutes. It's a point on my line. If y equals 60 divided by 6, because now x equals 60 minutes, we can't use 1. We have to use 60 because our graph is in minutes. 60 divided by 6, y equals 10 kilometers. Determine the constant of proportionality in kilometers per hour. Then write another equation representing distance varies directly with time. Okay, so now we're going to write down a couple things here, right? So if I have, we're going to do distance in terms of time. So d equals t divided by 6, right? And then, so if I wanted to now create and express it as time, I could say t equals d times 6. And we proved that in this problem up here, okay? Now, if I want to find the rate of proportionality or the constant of proportionality, I can do d over t for any point, or I can do t over d for any point. If I'm expressing it as d over t, my distance on any of these, I can just take any point that we used. We can use 60 and 10 kilometers, right? 60 minutes, 10 kilometers in 60 minutes. So my distance was 10 over 60, which equals 1/6. And then time over distance would be 60 over 10 or 6. So depending on how you're expressing it, if it's time over distance, your constant's going to be 6. If it's d over t, or distance over time, it's going to be 1/6. And it doesn't matter what point you have on our graph, on our line, you're going to get those two constants. It's just a matter of whether or not you express it as distance over time or time over distance. And then finally, right, how is this equation the same and different from the previous equation we wrote? It's the inverse, right? it's the inverse. This was our original. This was expressing it in terms of time. Inverse. And when I say it's, I should say the constant is the inverse. For the new equation, because 1/6 or divided by 6 is the same is the inverse of 6 or multiplying by 6. All right, hope this helps. Have a great day. Sorry it was